Thank you for coming here today, though. I appreciate it. So the topic tonight is 5 must-dos before you close on your next flip. The 5 things I'm going to talk about. Number 1, I'm going to talk about creating a scope of work for your job. The second thing we're going to talk about is setting up some online tools that you can use to manage your rehab throughout the process. Also talked about how you need to make a detailed material list. And then the 4th thing is create a phased rehab schedule. And the 5th thing is to place your orders. All right, okay, that's it. Thanks, guys. Those are the 5 things. So that time that you have when you contract the property until you close is a critical point. Because for one, it's the only time in the whole process where you're not spending any money and it's not costing anything, right? So you're kind of playing with the house's time and the house's money at that point. So you need to make the most of those 2 or 3 weeks, or whatever that is, until you close. These are some things that you need to do in order of when you need to do them. Number 1 is you need to create a scope of work for the house. So I'm going to walk you through a 5-step plan. It's very, very simple. It's not complicated. And I've got some tools that you can download from our website that you can use to help you create a scope of work for the house. So even if you don't know very much about renovating or construction, you don't have to be an expert to be able to do this. It would be helpful if you took somebody with you if you didn't have any construction knowledge at all when you're doing a scope of work for the house. But what the scope is essentially it's writing down every single thing that needs to be done to the property. You don't need to know how to fix a plumbing leak to know that there is a plumbing leak, right? So, and how do you know when the plumbing isn't leaking anymore? It's not leaking, right? There's no water coming out of the pipes when the valves are shut off. So you don't have to be a plumber, right? You don't have to be an expert. So this is designed to help you, even if you're not a construction expert or a licensed home inspector, to at least get a good foundation of all the stuff that needs to be done on the property so that you can organize it all and use it throughout the entire project. So the first thing you want to do, download the Build Rehab Scope template. What it is, it looks kind of like a piece of graph paper, except it's room specific. So it'll say like family room at the top. There's one for family rooms, hallways, bathrooms, bedrooms, kitchens. There's all different room types. And it has a list of everything that you would need to do in that room. So you look at the list and it says, for example, it might say, remove wall outlet covers. If it needs to be done, then you leave it on there. If it doesn't need to be done, then you scratch it off. So it has like 15 or 20 things for each room. You can make copies of those, you can print them out. And you just go into, because I believe in like subtractive, right? So you go in and you have a list of everything that you could do. You're going to cross off the things that don't need to be done. So you don't have to be an expert. At the very least, you want to get some graph paper. So that's the first thing you're going to do. Very simple. Easy? All right. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to get in your car and you're going to drive to the house. Simple stuff, right? Simple stuff. You're going to go to the house. And then you're going to take a ton of photos and videos. Tons of videos, tons of photos. Pictures of everything. I mean, I've seen people walk away with 200 photos, 300 photos, just a bunch of photos, all the different rooms, of everything that you might possibly need to have done. Because you're not going to remember everything, right? The one time that I first started doing this when I was back in my rehabbing days in the mid-2000s, fortunately, I took videos. So I didn't do a lot of the rehabs myself. I hired contractors, but I took videos and I took a lot of pictures beforehand. And it really helped out at the end when a contractor would say, well, that was like that before, or no, that wasn't like that before. And I had pictures I could go back and refer. So it's just a really, really good idea to go in and take a ton of pictures. So first thing, you're going to download the rehab worksheet. Then you're going to go to the house. Then you're going to go there and you're going to take a ton of pictures and videos. Now, this is where you make your money. You're going to walk through every single room and write down every single thing that needs to be done. So it's going to take you a while. If you do it right, it should probably take you about 2 hours to literally walk through every single room and write down every single thing that needs to be done. So you would write down, in a certain room, drywall patching over here, new window over here, new closet door, new closet shelving, remove that outlet cover. Every single room of the house, room by room, and you write down every single thing that needs to be done in that property. And at the bottom of our scope sheet, it has price estimates. So you can write down, calculate about how much it's going to cost, and it's going to be assigned a budget category as well. It's tedious. If you do nothing else, you will thank yourself that you took those 2 hours to go through and walk through every single thing that needs to be done to that house. And that'll give you like your master guide. And at the end, you'll be left with room by room, everything that the property needs. So when you go to meet with your contractors, you go to get with your bids, you go to go through the house and see what everything's done, you can walk through and check off room by room everything that needs to be done. Next thing, set up your online tools. So there's 2 or 3 sites and some tools that I recommend that you use. They all have a starting price of completely free. Because again, it doesn't have to be that complicated. You don't need to go out and spend hundreds of dollars on all these crazy formulas and these databases that sync up with Home Depot's SKU numbers. And I had a friend that went to a class and he bought this thing that like syncs up with Home Depot's database, and it's $500. It was an Excel spreadsheet. And every month the guy would just email him updates, and that's how it synced up with Home Depot's SKUs. Like, come on, man. You can use that, it's fine. I'm just saying you don't need to pay $500 for something like that. All right, so here's some online tools though that you can use. A lot of times what's going to happen, you'll get in there, let's just be realistic. You'll set it all up, it'll be so fun, and then you may or may not use it throughout the process. But there's a couple tools that I say, look, these are so easy that they're really hard not to use. The number one thing you want to start off right from the beginning is to hop on a website called Houzz. In 2015, when I first gave this topic, very few people had even heard of Houzz. I think a lot more people have heard of it now. There's a ton of content on there. It's basically Pinterest just for houses. So if you want to get some really good ideas, you want to hop on there. And the way it works is this. You can build like idea books. So the way that you see a lot of these rehabs, and do these people magically become amazing designers? No, they look online, they find inspiration for other things, and then they kind of copy the look of the house. So you could take a $2 million home on Houzz and apply the same styles and colors and everything to your $140,000 house in Forest Park. And it will have the same type of look. So what you do, you go on Houzz, you create what's called an idea book. You can create an account for free. And your idea book, you can, like this is my idea book I have in here. So this is like when I redid my bathroom at my house. It's like Hyde Park 2nd floor bath. My bathroom looks a lot like that because we just took a lot of the same ideas. So this is a house that we rehabbed over in Kennedy Heights a couple of years ago. This is probably a $6 million home if I recall, and it was a $132,000 house in Kennedy Heights. But we bought flooring that looked a lot like that. We got granite that looked a lot like that. And we just took this, we just used that as the inspiration. It looked, it looked like that's probably a $200,000 kitchen. But our investors got it done for probably $4,000. So this is really important to do this. So all these different ideas, you can build an idea book for each one of your properties. You could say, here's one just for a bunch of kitchens that I like, or just light fixtures, or one that's really good that you can build on here is curb appeal. Because that's the biggest challenge, right? How do you dress up a bi-level that looks like every other bi-level on the street? I'll use a dark gray siding instead of a light gray siding. I don't know. I'm not an architect. I'm not an exterior designer. But I can go in here and find some houses that look really, really cool, and I can borrow some different design elements to really make that house stand out. This is ours. If you, on our website at the bottom right now this second, there's a link to Houzz on there. You can go to Houzz and Google Build Realty. You can see all of our idea books. We've got tons of idea books. I've got a whole idea book on just things that you need to change the locks on a house, like recommended tools and stuff. Because one of the things that it has on here is something called a bookmarklet. And you can add the bookmarklet. It's like a thing that you put on your browser. So you can go to any website and you can add it to your Houzz idea book. So right here I've got all these different photos that I've added, and I added to my particular idea book. So you're constantly pulling that information. You say, oh, I like this, or I like this, or I like this. And you can take all that information and put it together. Cool? All right. So that's a tool that you can use that's completely for free, and I would highly recommend. And again, I like to recommend things that are very simple to use, that you'll continue to use over and over again. Not something that's super complicated that you've got to set up and do all these crazy configurations. This is something that's actually really practical. The neat thing with the bookmarklet, that's a weird word, I know, but I'm not gonna say it again. That's it. You click it at the top of your browser, like if you're on the Home Depot website, for example, you say, hey, I really like that vanity. You can click the little button and you can add it right to your idea book right there. So it's not just for things that are on the Houzz website. You can pull things from everywhere. Cool? You've always had that situation, right, where you saw that one, you're like late at night, you're like on your iPad, kind of watching TV and kind of on your iPad, or maybe your wife's got the Kardashians on or something silly like that, and you're not paying attention. So you're just going through your stuff. And you're like, oh yeah, I remember what website I was on when I saw that really cool bathroom. But you're not going to remember what website you were on when you saw that really cool bathroom. But if you have this thing installed, you can pull that in and you'll never forget about it. All right. Second online tool, again, not complicated, HomeDepot.com. I like Home Depot. I also like Lowe's, but Home Depot has a great online presence. They've got a lot of tools for contractors and real estate investors, right? So you can go on there, you can create an account, you can build lists of materials, and then you can even share those lists. You can create a list of, like, we have some investors, what they do, they say, look, here's my plumbing package for a full bathroom. It's the same stuff every time, right? And they just have it saved so that every single time they go to do a house, okay, how many bathrooms are there? Okay, I need 2 plumbing packages for full bathrooms. And you just order it. Pay for it. You tell the name of the person that's going to go pick it up. Say, hey, Roger, go pick it up. It's over there ready for you. You can build those lists and you can repeat those out. If you can get in a situation where you're generating the same types of lists over and over again, you can really take your business to the next level. An idea for the plumbing package I got from one of our investors who's a rehabber, but he's also a custom home builder. So he says, look, I just put together lists of, I know exactly what I'm going to need on a full bathroom. And he always orders more than what he needs. So if he thinks he needs, 3, 90-degree elbows and this many feet of PVC pipe, he orders twice as many. Because he'd rather have twice as many 30-cent elbows at the house rather than paying somebody $20 an hour to drive to Home Depot and buy one other elbow because he forgot, right? So those are the types of things you can do on HomeDepot.com. You can create an account, build a materials list, and you can take those lists and you can use them over and over again. HomeDepot.com is completely free, right? They do charge you for the materials. They do that, right? And then the other thing is that there's a lot of different project management tools out there. If you want to try to use something, again, I've tried them all. There's a million of them out there. This one's called Asana, and it is completely free, which I also like. It's very easy to use. You can download it as an app. You can use it to try to collaborate with your contractors. But if you can get all your contractors to download Asana and create profiles and share it all out as a team, you let me know how you got that done. Because I have a hard time getting them to show up on job sites, much less install apps. But you can use this for yourself, for your own planning. You can lay out time. You can do time, the Gantt charts and your time frames and your tasks. And one of the things you can do is that you can go to a website that they work with called Templana, which is templates for Asana. And you can download the Build Realty Rehab Real Estate Estimate template for free. And what it is, it's our 8 stages of the rehab that we teach in our workshops. And it's every stage and all the steps underneath it loaded into a template for Asana with all timelines and tips and guides through the whole thing. So you can download that app, you can get it on your computer, you can download the template, load it in there. It's just really, really cool and is completely free. So those are of all the different software things and all these different stuff you can use. We've tried a bunch of different ones, and these are the ones that we tend to use, we've been using now for over and over again for years and years and years. So these really, they work well and they're not that complicated. So, number 1, you want to put together your scope of work. Number 2, you want to go out to the house. 3, you want to drive through, you want to walk through the house and write everything down. And then you want to set up all your online tools. So when you do that, the final part before I get to the next customer success story is that you want to create a detailed material list. So one of the tools that you'll get when you download stuff from Build is you'll get that scope sheet for each room, but you'll also get a material list sheet as well. And it's an Excel spreadsheet, surprise. It works great though, and it has a list of all the materials you might need, and you can load in. It basically gives you a template. You can type in the materials that you need. If you want to go to Home Depot, most likely, I'll tell you this: unless you're like super like engineer type, you'll spend like 30 minutes starting to type some of this stuff in, and then you're going to abandon it. It probably won't work. But I'm going to send it to you anyway, and you can use it. That way it's at least there, and you can type all that stuff in. You can sign it to a different budget category, and on the front it's got a cool thing that rolls up, and you can track all your budgets as long as you go. You're not going to use it, I'm just telling you, but it's really, really cool. The reason why I show this, honestly, guys, is that I actually created this a couple of years ago because there are a lot of people running around charging a boatload of money for this stuff, and I was like, I just took like 2 hours, I just made it in Excel, and I'm like, this is probably better than anything else you could get, and you can get it completely for free from us. So we just want to give you access to as many tools as you can get without charging you anything at all, and just use whatever you want. Like whatever system that you're going to use that's going to work best, that's the best one, right? You better use a system that's terrible than to use no system at all. So we want to give you as much resources as we possibly can. Look, are you going to lose money in your next deal if you don't create a detailed material list? No. But I want to show you all the options, all the things you can do, and you pick the things. Okay, I'm good at this, I'll do that, okay? But you got to do something. Don't just try to wing it through the whole rehab, or you'll come out at the end, you'll be $15,000, $20,000 over. And you'll be like, man, what happened? Have some type of process. All right, so material list templates from buildrealty.net. You can go on there right now and get that. You'll also get a link in your email for that as well. Final parts I'm going to talk about here. The fourth thing you can do is plan an 8-stage rehab schedule. This is our bread and butter. This is what we teach. This is our stuff, okay? This is our jam. We believe that if you divide your rehab up into 8 stages, that you will be able to get through the entire project successfully. And you can give yourselves a fighting chance of really, really doing well. So I told you about the scope. I told you about all that stuff. The great thing about this, I've done whole workshops just on this. The great news is right now on our website, on buildrealty.net, scroll down just a little bit on the main page, I have the full 1-hour workshop that's specifically about how to plan the 8-stage rehab. So it's got all the notes from the workshop, it's got the breakdown of all the stages, and the full video. So you can, if you're like, man, I just love hearing that guy talk. I can listen to it all night. That's exactly what my wife says. It's weird, yeah. No, but for real, you can go on there anytime. You go on your phone. It'll get to a point like the second video where you have to type your email address in to continue, but don't worry about it. It's fine. Just do that, and you can listen to the whole thing. So I'm going to hit the high points of this. Like I said, I could spend a whole hour just talking about it, but I want to give you the basic framework of our 8-stage rehab process. So we believe that dividing up the rehab into different stages makes sure that you get through the project in the right order, and you always know what you need to be doing next. Number 1 is the planning stage. Number 2 is demo. And if you don't feel like writing it down, it's okay. Just go to the website, click on the thing, it'll take you to the page. They're all right there. You can just hit print or do whatever you want. Or you can just take a picture of the screen with your phone when I'm done talking about it. Either way. Next thing is exterior roughing. So you want to do all the stuff on the outside of the house. While that's going on, you want to have all the roughing going on. So the roughing in the electric, roughing in the plumbing, roughing in the framing. Hopefully the framing is roughed in before you rough the electric in. It's really tricky to build it. You couldn't even do it. Could you do that? You can't do that. Magical. People are going to watch that and be like, that guy's crazy. He says the weirdest, most random things. Guys, I've been doing these workshops for 8 or 9 years now. I've done, I think a couple hundred of these things now. So I say some really strange things. I go back and listen to these things. So you'll just have to ignore me. It's okay. Or you can just join in. It's okay. All right, the fourth thing, the drywall, the tile, and the paint. So once everything's all roughed in, then you start closing the walls up. But you make sure that everything's done right. So if you're pulling your electrical permits, you pulled your plumbing permits, they're going to come in, they'll do the inspections for the rough-in. Do the inspection for the electric rough-in as well. Always make sure that you're pulling permits. Next things, cabinets, cases, and bases. And that's when it really starts to get pretty, right? You're hanging up your cabinets, doing all your framing and everything, your millwork, all your trims. Then you're putting all the fixtures, electrical fixtures, the plumbing, so you put your vanities in. Then you do your carpet, and then you hang your doors. You do your final bit of painting at the end. You do that last 10% too. All that stuff that you remember, that outlet, that little phone jack we were talking about earlier, you forgot to take it off, and none of the contractors wanted to do it. So that last 10%, that's what you'll be down there, taking off that little phone jack or taking off that doorbell that everybody else forgot about. You'll be there the night before the open house, taking that off, patching the paint, all that little stuff. This is when, the last 10%, I know when you guys are at that point, because we'll be talking to you after a workshop and like, oh, how's the house coming? It's basically done. How much time does everybody always say it's going to be? How much time do they say? 2 weeks, right? Yeah. Oh, like 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. And then I see you next month at the workshop. How's that going? Oh, well, yeah, but still about 2 weeks. About 2 weeks out. Okay, that's fine. My neighbor's rehabbing a house right now. He's retired. That's all he does, rehab houses. And his house has been 2 weeks out, I swear to goodness, since 4th of July. Every week he's like, here, I'm going to have you list that house for me. Okay, it's fine. You just let me know. Yeah, I'll probably call you Friday. Call you Friday. Okay. My daughter was still in high school when that happened. Now she just started college this fall. He's still working on that house. Someday, though, he'll get it done. But he's been on that last 10% for a while. All right, so go. You can watch the full 8 stages video of Build Realty. You can watch that right now. You can go home right tonight. You're like, oh yeah, Act 2. Just start watching it, right? Mr. Rogers, my sweater. So you can watch the full 8 stages video. It's good stuff. It's really good stuff. All right, so the 5th thing and the final thing is you want to go and you want to place your orders. So there's a lot of things that you're going to need before the job starts. You got your material list. You've done your scope. You've watched the video 1,000 times. You have all 8 stages memorized, all the phases. You're ready to rock and roll. Okay, now you got about a week before the closing. Now you want to start placing your orders. These are the things you need to order. 1, you need to get your utilities turned on. This is an important detail. If you're buying a foreclosure particularly, you need to find out, because it's a lot easier to do this before you close. You need to find out, is it a municipality where the utilities, particularly water, does it stay with the house or does it stay with the person? Big difference, right? Because in Claremont County, what does it do? Stays with the house. Stays with the house. In Hamilton County, it stays with the person. But in Norwood, it stays with the house. Right? The bottom line is, whoever you're buying it from, the title company, find out, are there any outstanding utility bills and are you going to be stuck with them or not? It's easier to work it out before the close, particularly if you're buying a foreclosure or buying something from us, because they can work it out with the seller then and say, okay, yeah, we'll make sure that this is paid on the settlement statement, because that's not covered in your title insurance. Okay? It's not really technically of public record. So a week before the closing, call Order Utilities. You want to try to get them turned on or get them switched over into your name. Find out if there's any outstanding bills. It's a simple thing, but you never know. There may be a massive sewer bill for a couple $1,000s that stays with the house. Or maybe that's when you find out that, oh yeah, it's got to be hooked up. We're requiring that it's being hooked up to septic or being hooked up to public water. Right? It's an important part before you close. Second thing, you want to order your dumpster. You get a 20 or 30 yard dumpster. There's a ton of different dumpster companies out there. Just find one in your area. So definitely recommend ordering it a week out. Don't call on Thursday and try to get it the next day. I mean, it might happen, but just plan in advance. Also, order the insurance. I don't know. It's second nature now for us. We require insurance on all of our loans. We have a company that we get them from. So I just assume that everybody gets it. But I talked to a lot of investors, particularly people who don't use financing, and it's something that's a lot of times it's overlooked because it can kind of be a pain. So on a vacant property, for those of you who don't know this, you can't just go to like State Farm or whoever your insurance company is and have them insure the house because they don't insure vacant houses. So what they'll do, they're going to go and they're going to outsource it to another company who will. And it's kind of complicated, and they'll come back and they'll say, what about this, what about that? And they don't really know if you have the right type of coverage. You know, if it's like replacement or what's the other, there's all different kinds of stuff. So what you can do, you can go directly to the source. This company's been around now that we work with for a number of years. They specialize in working with real estate investors. All their stuff is done online. They're very reasonably priced. The insurance that you're going to want to get a fire dwelling policy for the house itself, and you're going to want to get some type of a general liability policy for the workers or for anybody that comes onto the house. Mainly so that if the contractor or somebody that's working may tell you that they've got insurance, they've got insurance for their people, but who knows if they really do. You got to make sure that your butt's covered, and you want to make sure that something happens to anybody that comes onto that property that you're covered. So you want to have a general liability policy, and you also want to have a fire dwelling policy for the house itself. Now, I'm not a licensed insurance agent, so I don't even know if I'm telling you the right thing. But ask your insurance company what you'll need. But the insurance company we would recommend is National Real Estate Insurance Group. So they were founded by real estate investors. I think the one guy that founded it he was like a big RIA guy here, yeah. So, I mean, they understand real estate investors. They insure. They work with a lot of other hard money lenders like us, and they insure a lot of their customers' houses. We send them all of our business for our loans. They're really easy to work with. It's all done online, and they'll tell you exactly what it is that you need. And for those of you who don't know, it is a little more expensive than regular homeowners insurance. A good rule of thumb is if you insure, what we recommend doing with our loans is that we get insurance for the after repair value of the property. And the insurance is going to be about 1% of whatever that is. So if it's a $180,000 house, the insurance is going to be about $1,800 for the year. And they'll work it out where you can pay monthly payments or you can pay a year in advance, however you want to do it. But that's what we'd recommend. So nreig.com, order your insurance. Please, even if you don't have a loan, I would highly recommend getting insurance on the property. All right, fourth thing that you want to order is you want to get bids for 2 weeks. We talk about it, and we're talking about scheduling the rehab and managing your contractors. And I joke that there's probably some people that have it all mapped out, and they're like, all right, January 7th, it's a Tuesday. Jim the plumber should be there by 9, patching in the plumbing in the second floor bathroom. Is it really going to happen like that? No. Jim the plumber will probably be out of business by then. Who knows? What I'm saying is just get bids for the first 2 weeks. So you always just kind of work like, okay, what am I going to be doing? What's going on this week? What's going on next week? And then anything beyond that. So you really just want to worry about this week, next week, and then beyond 2 weeks. Can you devise a complicated process that will take you out every single week? Will it collapse after about 2 hours? Yes, right? You want a system that's very simple. Always be thinking about 2 weeks out. So your first thing you want to order from the beginning, demo work, framing, roofing, rough electric, and plumbing. You want to get all that stuff lined up. You want to start meeting with the contractors before you close. All right? You want to know how far out they are. If the person is available to start the next day, they're probably not that good. No offense, right? If they're super available, that might be for a reason, right? But unless you're a GC who, a bunch of people owe a bunch of favors to because you helped them out and you're constantly getting them work, you're just a lowly real estate investor trying to get a house done, right? They don't know you from Adam. So be thinking, okay, I'm going to call the person today. Hopefully I can meet with them this week. Probably it'll be next week. And then hopefully they can start the week after that. So that means you need to get on the phone right away and start lining people up, right? So you want to line up your demo people, line up the framing, line up the dumpster, get all your bids and all your stuff worked out before you close. Remember, at that time, you're playing with the house's time and the house's money. It's not free, right? Okay. Just to recap, the 5 things you need to do. You need to create a scope of work. You need to set up your online tools. So you need to create a detailed material list, every single thing that you'll need for the property, and create a phased rehab schedule. So you at least have an idea of everything that needs to be done on the house. So what you're going to do, you're going to take that scope and you're going to take each one of those items from that scope and you're going to lay it on a schedule. You're at least going to say, look, even if you just, on your big list of all your scope sheets, you're just going to write a number next to each one. What phase is it in? Right? If it's phase 1, you'll write a little 1 next to it. If it's phase 6, what will you do? Right, a 6. Yeah, simple. I'm telling you, this is simple stuff, guys, all right? If it's the 6th step, you'll write a little 6 next to it. So you just go back and you line it all out. Does it make sense? Do you need to scan it into some crazy software thing and load it? No. Just write numbers next to it. Guys, if you just have a basic plan to get through your rehab, you are going to set yourself far and above your competition. You're going to set yourself up for success. Even if the plan's not that great, it doesn't have to be perfect, all right? But if you try to go in there with no plan at all, I promise you, you're just simply planning to fail. And the 5th thing, obviously, is like we said, is place your orders. So those are the 5 things that I recommend that you do before you close on your next flip, whether you're buying your first property or whether you're buying your 20th property.